JJ is throwing $5 out there. JJ, thank you for keeping the lights on around here, specifically that green one in the back. You're saying, I know what you did last summer. The hook should be like the ghost face mask for Scream. All sequels focus on the killer, using it to kill for revenge, jealousy, etc. I like that, you know, and even before I Know What You Did Last Summer came out, the 2025 movie, I should say specifically, I was kind of saying that. I'm like, if they kind of Screamified I Know What You Did Last Summer, this could be a whole series. This could be a whole new thing. And I'd be all about that. I just don't feel like they really left that big of an impression with that new movie. It was kind of, I don't know. It's not even so much that like I didn't like it. It was more so the fact that I just don't know what that really did positively for the franchise. You know, you turned a character who was a good guy into a bad guy. Spoilers, I guess. This movie's almost a year old now. You turned a good guy into a bad guy, and not with any real purpose outside of the fact that it was a deleted idea for the original sequel. And that to me is what I don't really love about the film. I would have liked if you would have built, a couple of movies up where we turned Freddie Prinze Jr. into the new hook-wielding killer. That could have been kind of cool. But I just feel like they raced to conclusions, resting on the laurel of, well, you know, it's been 30 years. Why? Maybe he did become a killer. Maybe he did go crazy. I think my biggest problem with it overall is that it's just trying so hard to be campy. And it's almost cringe because it's trying so hard to be that. I think that, you know, when you look at movies like the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, that is like kind of unintentionally really cheesy and silly, they weren't approaching the film saying like, let's make a really cheesy, campy slasher movie. That happens on accident. You know, the direction of the film ended up being so over the top and ridiculous. Like, there's some lines in that movie that just make me fucking crack the fuck up. And a lot of it's very situational. I mean, the most iconic moment from I Know What You Did Last Summer, the "What are you waiting for?" That was directed by a child. Do you guys ever hear this crazy story? Some child like won a contest to direct a scene in a movie, and it happened to be I Know What You Did Last Summer. It was that scene. He's like, I want you, Julie James, to be so frustrated in this moment and just scream up into the sky, "What are you waiting for?" Rah! And it's iconic, it's ridiculous, and it's borderline out of character for Julie James, who has been very, reserved up until this point. So it's such a shock, it's such a choice, and it's situational. It's not something that you can force. Like, you can't recreate that if you tried. And I feel like that's the problem with I Know You Did Last Summer 2025. They set out to make a cheesy, campy film where I think they should have just set out to make a really good B movie and let the actors, maybe make some interesting choices or set yourself up in a similar way that original film did. I think that, like, for me at least, that film read like you were literally writing goofy lines into the script. That's not how you make a so bad it's good horror movie. That's something that happens on accident. That's something that happens unintentionally. And I think that's kind of my, again, big problem with the 2025 film overall, outside of some things here and there. I did like some elements to it. The fisherman gets some of his best kills, which that's pretty cool. That's something that I think Scream 7 and the new I Know What You Did Last Summer have in common. They both like really upped the ante on the blood and guts, which I can never complain about that. That's always really cool. And you know what? If they do make another one, I think the absolute best performance in the new I Know What You Did Last Summer was from Julie James. So if we get to see her again, I really wouldn't be too upset about that because she was my favorite part of that whole new movie. She's great. Jennifer Love Hewitt's a frog in my throat or something. So sorry. She was like the best part of that new movie. So if she comes back, I'm so down for more of her. Bring it on. And Brandy, dude. I mean, that was a fun little tease at the end. I gotta be honest. My favorite part of that, my favorite scene in the whole new I Know What You Did Last Summer, that little end sequence with Brandy. That was fun. I love Brandy. She's amazing. She's so great. So if it's her and Julie fighting somebody else who's wielding the hook, I could get into that.